From champ season to Olympic gold, Jamaica lives and breathes sport. But behind those medals and moments of glory are young people juggling more than we realize. Training at dawn, studying after dark, fighting injury fatigue and expectation, all while trying to pass exams. Being a student athlete is no joke. It means talent, it's discipline, it's sacrifice and pressure. Today on Common Ground, we're talking to Justin Williams of Kingston College and then Anthony Myrie of the UWI Guild about what it really takes to compete, lead, and succeed on and off the field. I'm your host, Daniel Mullings. Let's find common ground. Now, for those who are listening, you may not be able to see it, but Justin is out here in his full-on KC, full-on fit, you know? So, Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you do? What are some of the sports that you do?
Okay, so for the sports that I do, I currently am doing 3 sports. I'm doing football, swimming, and lacrosse. So this is the lacrosse jersey. And then maybe you can't see, but I have on the football jersey on the bottom side. So for my interests, I aspire to be a pilot, and I also want to kind of move into acting way more, probably into movies or, you know, somewhere into, you know, the American section, because it's really interesting and I do find it very, you know, brings a lot of attention. Wow.
And so you mentioned 3 sports there, and I think off air we were also saying that you used to do 4. How do you balance all of this, Justin? Like, wow.
With balancing the sports, it's not easy at all, especially with having to keep up with academics. You do have to kind of dedicate yourself to being disciplined, of course. Being disciplined in the sense that you don't really have time to have fun, or even like on a weekend, you do have to be on the crunch time, especially being that the term is very short. You just have to always be on the grind.
Wow. So tell me, Justin, like, walk us through what a typical day looks like during peak season, like from morning to night. What does it look like?
Okay, for like a peak season like last year, around September and November, what happened is that we have swimming, and then at the same time we have football, which is Manning Cup. And what happened is I had issue with balancing that, because sometimes I'd have to do a football match that day, like a Friday, and then I have a swim meet the next day, so I would get no rest time. Or for example, like this year, I'd have a swim meet coming up the same day as a lacrosse match. So you kind of have to balance it quickly. So go to my swim and then go to the lacrosse quick and fast.
Wow, oh my goodness. And has there ever been a moment where you feel that, you know, you're falling behind, maybe in academics or in athletics? Like, how do you kind of find the middle ground between those two?
Yes, I do feel those moments of, you know, I feel like I'm slowly deteriorating, but honestly, I do my faith in Jesus Christ, you know, my Lord and Savior. I use him with the faith, and I say I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and that I can get through it just by just being calm. And I sometimes ask my mom, who supports me, and my dad, to just give me a little guidance of what I can do or the choices I can make.
And as you mentioned your mom, I'm sure it takes a whole, you know, family of support to have you go into like 3-4 different sports, in addition to all the other interests that you shared. Like, what kind of support has your family given you to allow you to reach where you are today? So with my mom, especially being there all the time. So my mom is the one who got me into the sports, first of all, especially my brother. It kind of bounced off from my brother to me, and I just began I was at one point doing 6 sports in prep school, and I was even volunteering to do sports because I was just so capable. So my mom was just always like adding me to things and saying that my son, he can, because he has the ability, he has the energy, and he has the vibrant, you know, behavior to move forward in sports. Wow. Yeah. And what has sports taught you? Like, over the years, being able to juggle so much, and this is also like a formative part of your life, like your growing up years. Like, what have you learned from doing all of these sports?
Sports have taught me that it's not always about motivation, but it's about doing what you know you have to do, regardless of how you feel. And also it has taught me that you have to learn how to communicate well. You have to learn how to be, like, even in discomfort where you may not be in a surrounding where people like you still have to learn how to work with them. So that's something I've learned.
Nice. And then earlier you mentioned a bit of your additional interests, right? So you said you want to be a pilot in the future, and you're also interested in acting. Like, tell me about some of those other interests that you have.
Okay, with acting, it developed from 11 years old where I was just invited. As you know, I was invited to go and do acting, and ever since my first commercial, which was a duplex commercial, I found the setting it was new, and it invited me to do more and more, and that's what happened. I started doing it more often. With the pilot now, it kind of brushed off from my brother. Initially, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer or an architect, but my brother then graduating Tinselpen, what happened is that it brushed off to me and saying, I actually have the interest to maybe be on a plane as well, to carry people around the world and possibly even my wife.
All right. Now, Kingston College has a major legacy. Everyone knows about KC when it comes to athletics. How do you think being a part of the Kingston College, community has helped you, as well as what is it like? Everybody from the outside is like, it almost looks like, I don't want to say a cult, but it almost looks like they're all so together, right?
Yeah. The unity in Kingston College, I will say it's really tight. It's something that continues on even after you're not in the school. So the motto, Fortis Cadere Cedere Non Potus, the brave may fall but never yield. And also, something that we always say is that we're always going, we call them old boys. And what it is that they're always there to support us either financially, physically, or even emotionally or mentally. As young men growing up, we're taught to be really, strong, masculine, and to be determined in what we do. So that's kind of what we are learning at KC, where the unity is concerned, and having that brotherhood.
All right. My final question for you, Justin, would be, in those moments when it gets difficult, what keeps you going?
Family, God, and a purpose to live.
A purpose to live. That's very deep. Thank you so much, Justin. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to go to a break, but we'll be right back with more Common Ground. Welcome back to Common Ground. I'm your host, Daniel Mullings. Now, we just finished the first segment speaking with Justin Williams about what it's like to be a student athlete at the high school level. We're now speaking with Anthony Myrie, the Games Committee chairperson of the UWI Mona Guild, to explore sporting at the tertiary level. Now, Anthony, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you study?
So currently I'm studying a bachelor's degree in marketing and human resource management, double major, and the Faculty of Social Sciences. So that's pretty much me for the academic part of things. Wow.
And you're balancing all of that with not only being a student athlete, but you're also in leadership. How did you even end up on the leadership side?
So it started from high school, to be honest, at Mannings. Towards the last year, I served as the spirit committee president. That really kicked off a little bit of I can actually do this type of thing. And then at UWI, when I moved on and all for the first 2-3 months, I realized that I often can influence persons to a level with my attitude and my mindset, so we can do great things. So from there to second year, I did well over SOSI as a faculty GCC, and then I applied to become on the guild, the GCC now. All right. Do you feel that sports has helped you develop your leadership skills? Yes, most definitely, because I think with sports you have a level of tolerance and time management you have to put into consideration, because it's not easy to get to each day and go to train and then go to school. There'll be shortcomings at all angles in terms of even having a social life at that. So you have to ensure that you're balancing all the time. Your academics is always good, because at the end of the day, I left home to be a student. So that's a big thing for me as well. So for the most part, sports can teach you, but it can also break you. So you have to just keep your head intact. And what sports did you do? Because you said you're coming from Mannings. What sports did you do when you were at Mannings? And then what do you do now in the tertiary level? Pretty much it was just football. I would say I was a part of the best 2 years of Mannings football, in my opinion. They went to final and the semi-final the following year. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but we learned a lot from those 2 matches and those 2 seasons. Whilst at UWI, I played intercal last season, but I kind of took a break because I'm on the guild now. So my time would not be so flexible in terms of going to guild stuff, hosting events, going to school and playing intercal. So. Do you feel like there's more pressure being a student athlete at the tertiary level, as you just mentioned, as you're taking on these other leadership roles and maybe even looking at, maybe other career aspirations that you have as well? Is it more challenging at the tertiary level? Yes, because you have a lot at stake at high school, because you need to make transition. But at university now you can fail away your days and fail those courses and you have to be doing it again. But in terms of the pressure, I think it's similar pressure. Once you're strong mentally, you can deal most of the pressure that comes along. And in terms of the career aspirations and stuff, I always wanted to see myself in HR. So pretty much I'm doing a degree for it now.
And what do you think are the biggest challenges that student athletes face at the university level?
Well, the clear one for me is always the scholarship opportunities, because most of them come on campus and some of them may get some half scholarship for the first year, but there's nothing to kick on to the second and third year. So most of them end up spending like a 3-4 year doing a degree that they probably don't want to do, but they're doing because they're at university now, and then they have not enough funding to actually help them to keep going. In terms of scholarship on campus now, there's really a lot. There are like maybe like 10 to 12 student athletes who are on scholarships now, and it's rough because there are like a lot of different sports and it's maybe 1 or 2 per sport. So they're actually suffering.
Wow. And that's interesting because, I mean, Jamaica is known for sporting and athletes. You'd be thinking that there's more investment going into it.
In terms of investment, I would actually like to see more companies come on board to help these athletes, because if each company pick a sport, it's much easier. It just can't be track and field alone, football sometimes, and netball, and it's only like one scholarship, and it's not fully for their degree. It's like a part of it. So for me, I would really like them to get some help. In terms of the university, I think they host one with CB that they do annually. That's one aspect of it, but outside of that, there's not many really opportunities for them.
And what do you think about in terms of support for student athletes academically? Is there also support there? So
currently, not directly, but there's the ASU unit. They do some tutoring and stuff on the different houses from the Office of Student OSSD. Pretty much that's one aspect of it, but on a more sports office, not really much. So they are probably juggling, going to train in the mornings or the evenings, then come to have the midday classes, then the assignment due at midnight. When you leave by time you get up to the assignment and you're tired and you have training or match the next morning. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with them. But in terms of academics, they would need a lot more help as well.
Wow. And then, persons always talk about what universities or institutions need to do. But I'm also curious what you're doing through your portfolio, because you hold a very important position on the Guild. How are you helping student athletes?
So currently, most of the time when I get opportunity to go on these platforms, actually like highlight their issues and throw it out there like, okay, this is how you can actually help them. There's some form of intervention being done with the sports department currently. They're having sessions, they're reaching out to persons who can reach out to them. Some of the athletes now are moving on to overseas universities and getting more help, but that's just one aspect. In terms of them being in Jamaica, what I often try to do when I get these like meetings and so forth to bring forth their issues, I champion it 100%. I advocate always for them, because I know what it's like to be an athlete, and the suffering, it can be unbearable at times, but you have to just cope with that pressure. So for me, I would really like to get, more chances for them in terms of the academic funding and stuff. So, yeah.
And beyond all of this, because what's interesting about being a student athlete is a lot of glory and fanfare comes with it, right? Especially in high school and then moving into university too. Like, there's so many people who are saying, oh my goodness, him get a gold medal, him get a bronze, or like that's what people are looking for. What do you think kind of keeps a student athlete measured, let's say, or what keeps them going even when that's not happening? Maybe you have an injury and you're out for this season. Like, how do you keep going at that point?
Keep going in terms of like, yes, sports have a way of humbling you. You can win this season, lose next season. You can be bad this season and pick it up next season. So for most athletes, is that they know they can win and they can execute well on match day. So they're like, okay, I'm gonna work hard. Even if I'm out for like 3-4 months, I'm still training, because when I come back, I'm gonna win the championship, win these matches. So for the most part, they want to win, and their mentality is always that I can do better each day. And for me, that's pretty much what you want to do. Go keep going until you win.
And last thing I'll ask you is, what would you say is just your message to all student athletes, whether the younger in high school or coming up now in university?
So from a high school level, train hard, study hard, you'll get everything right. At a university level, ensure that your life is balanced. There are way more distractions at UWI than any other place I can think of. If at a party, it's a par, it's a lime, it's something. So balance school and sports. But remember, at all of it, have someone you can talk to. Yeah, because that helped me a lot. So, yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much, Anthony. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going back to another break, but when we come back, we'll have both Justin and Anthony together to do a quick this or that game, and then going into more advice for young people in sports. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Common Ground. I'm your host, Daniel Mullings. Now we're joined again by both Anthony Myrie and Justin Williams. And we're going to start off with a little bit of a quick rapid game. All right, guys, are you ready? You guys should be competitive, as athletes. All right. Ready? All right. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, my Ronaldo jersey, and I was hoping at least one person.
Ronaldo.
Okay, thank you. There we go.
Messi.
Track or football?
Football.
Track.
Morning training or night training?
Morning.
Night.
Studying alone or group study?
Study alone.
Alone.
Cheese patty or chicken patty?
Chicken patty.
Cheese.
Wow. Jerk chicken or stew peas?
Jerk
chicken.
All right. The man them want protein. If you could train with any Jamaican legend for a day, who would you pick?
Andre Russell.
Ooh.
Jerry Ross every day.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's this goalkeeper, Andre Blake.
Good choice as well. And in one word, what would you say being a student athlete is?
Just passionate. Just lone passion.
Lone passion. That's good, all right?
Dedication.
Dedication. All right, guys. Thank you so much. A nice little quick fire round. Now, both of you are able to, kind of listen to each other's journey as well. Is there anything that stood out for you as you were listening to the other person speak?
For me, he did a number of sports. That wasn't for me. I was like sports, academics, and student leadership. So for me, that little time frame to do those sports, nah. And I wasn't as talented as he was. You do like one sport, good at it, you take on student leadership for me, and then that's it.
Now, what would you say, Justin?
For me, he did mention motivating others and assisting others with their journey. For myself, I do also volunteer, and I like to see others grow as well as myself, knowing that there is a struggle somewhere in that growth.
Really powerful.
Yeah.
So then, Anthony, I want to ask you, as you kind of look back at your younger self, right, which kind of is where Justin is now, what do you wish you knew earlier on in this journey?
You would not have a social life. as young people, sometimes you want to explore the world a bit. Your social life is actually gone to a level, so like your weekends become your weekdays, basically. Your mornings become your evenings. It's almost the same thing every day, but you just keep going and you don't stop, pretty much, for me. And if I wanted to make a choice to go back and choose not doing this, I wouldn't change anything. I actually like this.
You're very content and confidence.
I like what I'm doing, and I think it's doing really well so far. So why start now?
And Justin, for you, where you see yourself in maybe 5 years, 10 years even?
Where the Lord guides me, I will go.
Amen.
So I will say that the path that I'm currently on, although I kind of not really into moving into sports professionally, but I'd like to use it as somewhere to bounce off, to go overseas, to get us into a college or a university where I can bounce off into wherever aspect I may go. Okay.
And earlier you were speaking about a bit of the volunteering that you do. Can you tell us what you do for volunteering? Yes.
Okay, so I do visit my old school, St. Peter's and Paul, and what happened is that we do this read across Jamaica, and we help students who have a little learning disability or disadvantage, and we kind of guide them into understand. We have a game, it's called Grapho game, where it teaches you young children, even if you're older, adult or young teenagers, it does allow you to get those little baby steps, especially if you're dyslexic or you have a challenge with other things. Amazing. Communication.
Yeah, and do you do volunteering as well, Anthony?
Well, the guild pretty much. So what I basically do on campus, I plan, organize, and execute all the sporting activities from the freshers to the intramural to the Human Champions League. Now I'm on the committee, at the local committee for the U Games coming up in this May. I want Mona to win. Yes.
Tell the people what UE Games is. Not everyone might know.
Pretty much UE Games is all 5 campuses facing off in 10 different sports. It will happen this May 31st to 30th in Trinidad on the St. Augustine campus. Pretty much going there as the Mona campus and as the GCC. It'll be my last week as GCC, so I want Mona to win, and I can say yes. In my year as GCC, Mona won the UE Games. So yeah, that's pretty much for me. That'd
be amazing. I'm rooting for Mona as well.
Yeah.
And Justin, what do you think better support for student athletes looks like at the high school level?
I'm going to use myself for an example. I have my teachers, people who are even close to my mom, where when I'm at school, they are my mother. And, I have some fathers at the school as well, where when I need the support, whether it's financially or I need a drop-off, they will be there to help me. And also it can be emotional because sometimes doing sports you are under some stress and you're wondering if you're going to improve or if you're going to, fall down. So, and the injuries, they put a big impact on you mentally.
And I think that's important because this is a recurring theme we've seen over the past few episodes, honestly. It's that as young people, we need a whole ecosystem of support in order to make it to where we want to be in life. So you're highlighting your teachers, in addition to your parents and your family, and it's everybody coming together. Mm-hmm. So I'm also curious, Anthony, from your perspective, what other support do you think? You mentioned some earlier, but if there's any other forms of support you think that student athletes need to really succeed?
He mentioned mental health and so forth in terms of like person deemed support, but for me at U itself, it's the scholarships, because those persons will be there for a while waiting on the opportunity to finish their degree, and they may be stuck in a loop. So I would love to see more scholarships being given out to the athletes regardless of their GPA. It can bring it down a bit to support them because they are balancing both school and sports. Support them, bring it down a bit. If it's not a full scholarship, give them something to keep them going, help them through their studies, and to ensure that at the end of it, they don't feel as if like they were doing sports because that was their way out. So they can have a career after sports.
Really important point, because I think a lot of people look at student athletes, especially at the tertiary level, thinking that it brings a lot of money. Like if you get some gold medal and some bronze and silver, we're thinking that you're drowning in riches or so on. But that's not the reality, is what you're saying.
No, it's not the reality, because you have some persons on campus who go abroad and represent Jamaica, the West Indies by virtue of cricket. But even then, when they come back, they're regular students. What happens to all those money that they earn? It goes back to their schooling, their families, maybe their coaching, if a private coach or something. They buy equipment for doing sports. So like all that stuff come back into one. They still need support when they come back into the campus.
All right, recognizing the support that they need. Yeah. All right, so for our final question, we like to end, with something inspirational and motivational. So I want to start off with you, Justin, in terms of what would be your, big word of advice to student athletes across the island.
I am not perfect, but there's a man that I follow who is, and that's Jesus Christ.
Mic drop. Important words there. Anthony, over to you.
Keep going. Delay doesn't mean denial. That's for me.
All right. Thank you both for being here today. Behind every medal or every race, there's a student trying to balance ambition and expectation. Today reminds us that even as we celebrate their talent, we should also recognize the discipline and resilience that they bring to the table. I'm your host, Daniel Mullings, and thanks for finding Common Ground. See you next week.